Bitcoin is on the edge of potentially breaking down, doing some very, very bad things, but so far it's actually still looking really good. So let me break this down for you. Let me demystify everything on this chart as we always do. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. Make sure you smash up those likes and subscribe and make sure you've done those things as you're coming in here. But let's not waste any more time here, guys. Bitcoin has ended up doing one of the key things that I said I'd like to see it doing, which is setting a series of higher highs and then potentially a series of higher lows as well, which does confirm that we are generally going to be in an uptrend right now. And I think what this really depends on is basically where we are right now. Now, if we're going to see any more blood in this market, I think we're going to start to approach some pretty dangerous market conditions, because this low right here, right basically smack bang at $20,000, is going to be an essential level for Bitcoin in my opinion. If we end up dipping below this area or even coming near it, I think that's going to be quite a concerning sign for Bitcoin, because it's going to mean that we're no longer setting higher lows in this trend. You can't really even say that this one is confirmed, although we are getting a little bit of a bounce right now. And this is really what I've got my eyes on right now, ladies and gents, because one of the key things that I outlined to you guys that I'd be looking at is the dollar, if it ends up continuing to rise up, which is exactly what it's done, guys. Look at this. It's really just shot up over these last 12 hours, basically since last night. And this is when I was making a video talking about it, where, if the dollar ends up trending down, we'd be okay. But if it does just kind of break above this green line, which is what it ended up doing, then I would expect that the dollar is going to be reaching this area at 111.8, which we nearly hit. We didn't quite get there yet, but we are very, very close. Now, the good news is that this would really signify that the dollar has basically made yet another kind of leg within potentially this downtrend. So this wouldn't be bad for Bitcoin overall, but it could mean that Bitcoin loses its kind of short-term uptrend structure. Not the end of the world. I'm going to talk about all of that in just a second with you in this video, but I do think that this is something that's well worth just kind of bringing onto your radar, because the dollar has made its decision to continue to rise up a little bit, and we do have resistance pretty close now. So, I'm not too worried about it overall. If we take a look at where some of the resistance is right here, actually on the 4-hour, we've got some support for the dollar. Let's switch this onto the daily, and it could potentially be a little bit of resistance. This is actually a pretty damn reliable indicator, guys, for the dollar, moving back to basically February of this year. Basically, as soon as the dollar had a spread on this EMA ribbon on the daily time frame, it's been 100% accurate, guys. Look at this. Every time we fell into this ribbon, finding support, a little bit of a fake out right here, but then continuously just finding support in this ribbon. So does this mean now that we've fallen out of it, we're going to start finding resistance? That would make sense. That would make sense. But guys, we're at the very, very top of it right now. If you look at the left-hand side of the screen, if you look at this yellow number, that's reading 111.579, and our current price for the dollar on this index, anyway, it's not really a price, is 111.561. So we are very, very close to the top of this EMA ribbon. Now, can we spike up a little bit beyond it and then come right back down? Absolutely, yeah, that's totally doable. And like I showed you, that's happened before. So definitely wouldn't be too far out of the ordinary, but we're really pushing it. We are really pushing it. So I think this is well worth keeping in mind. The S&P 500, obviously, because the dollar has rallied up a little bit, has seen a little bit of a dip. If we look at this on the hourly time frame, it opened quite a bit lower, now recovering some of these sessions losses, but I don't know if it's going to stay open for much longer. Yeah, there's only about 90 minutes left in today's trading session, and then we're going to have to wait until tomorrow to see what ends up happening. But clearly, this hasn't had a particularly great effect on Bitcoin. Now, the good news is that if we look at some of our key indicators that I've been watching, the 1-hour Ichimoku cloud is here yet again saving Bitcoin. Okay, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind whatsoever that Bitcoin has found its bounce basically right at the bottom of this Ichimoku cloud. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's very much something that the Ichimoku cloud was predicting for us. If we look at the 4-hour EMA ribbon, though, we are we've basically fallen right down to the bottom of it. So we still have support here from the 4-hour EMA ribbon. We still have support from the 1-hour Ichimoku cloud. And overall, this is actually still pretty good, right? I mean, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed at all since my last video. I actually said that this would still be a very bullish thing for the market to do. And a big reason for that is because, this is going to kind of shake out some long positions, right? We're going to see even more shorts in the market, hopefully even less longs. Let's actually take a look at what mdxalgo.com is saying right here for our long and short ratio. Let's see the change here. Actually, so we have seen a little bit more longs, which doesn't really make sense given what I've just said, but we are still majority short, and I think that's still a really, really good sign, right? We haven't been majority short for a very, very long time up until quite recently. And I think that does tell us a lot about how this market is actually quite bearish, just in terms of the, dare I say, the noobs in this market, the people that aren't actually particularly proficient as traders. Those people are generally kind of taking up their short positions right now, which is obviously a good sign that, yeah, the market could end up continuing to go up, because these guys are never right in the market long term. And obviously that paints some really, really nice trading opportunities, guys. You know the deal. I'm going to be using BitGet and Bybit for these opportunities, but as I've been highlighting to you, you're getting $400 as a trading bonus when you follow my link in the description down to Bybit. This is a very easy trading bonus to get compared to what other exchanges are offering, and all you've got to do to get this trading bonus is sign up to BitGet, and this is where I'd be making my trades as well. Like I said, BitGet and Bybit being my two main exchanges. You follow that link down in the description down below to get into BitGet. And the cool thing about BitGet is that there is no KYC or VPN required from anywhere in the world, so definitely well worth checking this out. It's quite easy to get this bonus compared to other exchanges, and Bybit, of course, is the other exchange that I'm using. Both of these exchanges have a very, very wide variety of pairs. They're super stable, plenty of liquidity. I mean, absolutely flawless overall. I've not had a problem. So go check them both out, guys, if you are interested in taking up some positions in this market, because I do, for me, I'm already in a long position. I do think that Bitcoin is going to be able to continue to rise up, and if there's any time that makes sense to start looking at buying Bitcoin, it is going to be basically when we're just at the bottom of our support levels. That's also obviously where it's most scary to take on long positions, where it's most scary to be buying Bitcoin, both of which you can do by spot and go long on these two exchanges, right? So I use these for everything, but obviously, it is going to be somewhat concerning to be doing that at the very lows of our support levels, but of course, that's also where the best, where the best gains are made, right? So you have to, this is the game of trading. It's like on one side you've got fear, on the other side you've got whatever the opposite of fear is, just total, utter confidence. And when you're closer to this side, that's where the best opportunities are, and when you're on this side, you're probably going to fuck up anyway, if you're too confident. So, I think that's something that's worth keeping in mind. And really, guys, what I'm going to be looking at is if we do end up kind of pumping up to the upside, we're going to have to clear this high very, very quickly. Now, the good news is that if we do start trending up, these rallies up are usually pretty quick. So this shouldn't take too long. I mean, it could literally happen by tomorrow or the day after. And I think that if we're able to get above this high at $21,000, that next area of resistance is going to be up here at $21,700. It's been a nice little gap. A nice little break for Bitcoin. Ever since Bitcoin kind of hit this range, we've been kind of trading sideways, I would say consolidating for about 5.5 days now. So I'm quite happy to see that, ladies and gents. I think that's actually a pretty good thing that this market is showing us right now. If we kind of zoom out onto the daily time frame and just take a look at this again, this really does look like, your typical kind of move up, sideways consolidation before continued moves to the upside. And, let's take a look at the sentiment. Let's see what we've got right here with the sentiment. A little bit of a dip down. So, quite nice movements on our sentiment index here as well, just kind of flatlining in levels of fear again. And this is still, fairly a fairly fearful market. I mean, we're still definitely, in pretty low territory here. Of course, we're not in extreme fear. We were basically fucking living in extreme fear for, months on end recently, guys. But, we are now kind of coming out of it a little bit, but still pretty damn low. I mean, the market is not optimistic at all overall, I would say. And, there's a lot of people that are just kind of in disbelief that this rally is even happening. And, I think that's why we're seeing a lot of these, where is it? I keep losing it. That's why I think we're seeing a lot of these kind of shorts piling on in the market right now, which is definitely, like I said, quite a good sign for me and, other traders that are looking to potentially speculate on this market at the moment, because, again, most of those traders are generally not going to be correct about what they're seeing in the market. So I'm liking what I'm seeing there. If we end up continuing to rise up, like I said, 21.7 is going to be that next key level for me. But the other key level to keep your eyes on is going to be this previous kind of high that we set, our midterm high right here. This was at 22,700. So again, just about $1,000 higher. I think this is going to be a really important level. If we can reclaim this, that's going to tell us in a very serious way. Like, see, the thing is we've got our short-term trend, so that's everything kind of over here. If we get above this, then we know we're good for the short term. Okay, done. We've done that. We're actually now consistently finding support on top of this range as well. So that's absolutely great. I mean, that is showing us that we've basically flipped what was an area of resistance into now an area of support. So that's absolutely fantastic. But this is our short-term thing. If we kind of zoom out a little bit more and we take a look at this, this is going to be that next level for us to take. And, ideally we kind of get something a little bit like this, where we get above this level, come back down for that beautiful support hit, and then continue rallying onto the upside. And if we zoom out a little bit further, other, the real key level for us on this chart is going to be kind of $25,000 all the way up here. This is going to be that other ceiling as well. So it's basically just these two levels that I've really got my eyes on. I know that there are resistance levels in between, like 21.7, as I've been saying quite a bit, and so on and so forth. But the key levels, that really most people are watching, at least most people that know how to do technical analysis fairly well, are going to be this one and definitely this one as well on a longer term perspective. So if we're able to get above this one, guys, I think it's game over. I think we're absolutely flagged to the upside, at least the $28,000. But that's obviously quite far away, so I don't want to talk too much about it right now. But if I'm wrong about all of this, if the market does actually drop down, well, the good news is that I'm not actually going to lose money. I've already got my stop loss at break even and all that good stuff. So it's not possible for me to lose money on this position. I've already locked in gains all the way up to 50%. Super, super happy with it. You already know the deal. VIPs have gotten all the information about it. I've actually got these new steps on screen here because, like I said, I have actually moved some stuff around on the description. If you want to get inside my VIP channel, you got to expand the description and click on this 𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗧𝗏 link right here. And then very simply click on the @𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗧 button at the bottom of any post instead of 𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗧𝗏, and that'll take you to the screen where you can click on the send message. So actually very similar to the previous steps I gave you. It's just that this first link is now a little bit lower in the description. Go ahead and check it out. Get yourself inside a VIP if you're interested. I want to remind you guys, our yearly members absolutely love this, that if you are a yearly member, you can get phone calls with me anytime you like, and we can cover pretty much anything you like as well. So I'm based in the UAE now, in Dubai, so regulations are not nearly as strict as they used to be in the West. Obviously, I'm still not going to be your financial advisor and all that stuff, but there is quite a bit of cool stuff that we can go through, and VIP members have been loving that. So go ahead and check this out, guys, by following these steps on the screen right here. Basically just this. It's all the same, really. And I'll see you on the other side. A little bit of a discount running as well, so take advantage of that while the markets are low. We price in Bitcoin, by the way, so that's also going to be useful for some of you to know. Now, moving back to the charts, though, if I'm wrong about this, what I think we're going to do is potentially sweep this low down at $20,000, and that's where I think things could get really, really ugly. Now, there is still space for that to happen because, like I've said, there's a good amount of space for the dollar to continue to rally up, and that's, by the way, at least to 111.8. But, this red line could also be resistance for the dollar, and that would place us at 112.3, this isn't a big move per se. The dollar has only gone up by about 0.46%, but within this basically same trading session, let's just take, basically this dump is what happened when the dollar started to rally up, right? So Bitcoin dropped by 3% when the dollar moved up by 0.5%, and if we drop down by another 3%, that is going to put us right back deep into that $19,000 range. That's going to put us at about 19.6, and if we do manage to get another kind of 0.5% of a rally to the upside, that would put us pretty close to this kind of red line that I was talking about. Really, it would make a lot of sense if the dollar ended up going there, if it just basically reproduced this leg. But like I said, guys, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. I think that this is already quite a clear downtrend right here, and then we are just kind of rallying up to capture resistance. So it makes total sense to me that we capture resistance up here. This leg would be shorter than this leg if we top out over here, right? And I can show you that very clearly if I just take a line like this and I show you, how high the dollar would have to rally to reproduce the same kind of rally. It would take us up to 113, right? So this is basically on the assumption that the dollar has a significantly shorter rally, and this is quite a bit shorter. But I don't know. I think that there's a good reason to expect that to actually happen anyway, just given where this resistance is, and I think that is something to be keeping in mind. But if the dollar does actually kind of punch even higher, I think that is going to be dragging indices markets like the S&P 500 even lower. Keeping in mind there's resistance right here as well, so the S&P 500 isn't in actually the best of positions right now. Can we just blast straight through this resistance? Yes, of course, but is that likely? Maybe not so much. The last time we actually broke this area of resistance when it was acting as resistance was back here, basically around the end of July, but it took us 1-2 solid attempts to do that, and then we finally got that rally to the upside, right? So Bitcoin could suffer in that time if we end up doing something like that. So that is something that I want you guys to be keeping an eye on, and I honestly think that this does depend a lot on just kind of what happens with this area right now. If we basically get below this low right here, which is at 20,200, that's it. I think it's going to be lights out. I think we're going back down to this area at 20,000. Then we got to hope and pray for a double bottom. If we get a double bottom, then I think we're fine. We're still setting a pattern of higher highs, but we would have set a double bottom, which is actually kind of bullish anyway. So again, we're fine as long as we don't lose this area at $20,000. But I think it would be almost inevitable if we lose this prior low that we're going to revisit this area. And this is the concern really, is we might not get a double bottom. If we don't get a double bottom, then I don't think that the market's going to be in a particularly good position. The good news, if we do end up dropping, is that if it does put us down to like 19.6, let me just drop a line here to show you what that would look like. This is a pretty good level for the market. Just kind of going back to when we were using this area as support, this was really good support for the market. As resistance, this was quite consistent resistance as well. Very, very predictable range for Bitcoin right here. So you could expect some support, and then we continue to move up. That would actually make a lot of sense. That would make this look like a deviation. That would make the bears feel really, really smart. That would scare a lot of people out of their long position. So again, it's just more liquidity for the market makers, and then the market continues to move up. That would make so much sense. That's actually the first time I've said this out loud, and I've actually kind of convinced myself that seems quite likely given what we're looking at right now. So please do keep that in mind. But really, guys, I think what a lot of people are going to be expecting is that if Bitcoin does end up losing this low right here at $20,000, we're not even going to find support down here. I think a lot of people will start to expect that we revisit the range lows at 18.5, which, to be honest with you guys, that's actually what I thought would originally happen, before I sat behind this microphone to make this video, because that would mean we're basically right back into the sideways range. And what we do in these sideways ranges is we hit the bottom, we hit the top, we hit kind of close to the bottom, and then the top, and so on, right? So that's generally what happens. And if we revisit that range, it would tell me that we're probably going to be going back down to those lows. And again, you got to ask the question of how many times can this not so significant area of support actually function as support. This never really was, 18.5 never really was a particularly strong area of support in my opinion. So if we keep on testing it, I don't know if that's actually going to hold. That might mean we have to go down to our absolute market low at 17.6, which would be bloody horrible. I really hope that doesn't happen. But if it does, then yeah, we're probably gonna lose that too. And this will turn out to be basically yet another it would be quite depressing. It would basically, to me, start to look like we have set yet another kind of lower high, right? Something a little bit like this. And then the market just kind of collapses down. That would actually make a lot of sense if you're bearish. So do keep that in mind as well. Now, in terms of speculation, it's come back a little bit. You look at Ethereum against Bitcoin, for example. We're right back down now. But up until a few hours ago, we weren't doing too bad. Altcoins were seeing a little bit of a rise. We're now just kind of consolidating. This really does look like your typical kind of bull flag setup before the market just explodes to the upside. We move up, we consolidate, trade sideways a little bit, recatch our breath. Regroup, whatever, and then we kind of go off to the races again. Does make a lot of sense, and this is kind of reflected with other movements in the altcoin market. Nothing absolutely crazy going on today. Let's take a quick look at Doge as well. Yeah, Doge kind of recovering a little bit, right back into this range, and then Doge against Bitcoin as well. I think this is the more important chart. Yeah, it's actually doing okay against Bitcoin. So altcoins aren't doing too bad. I think that is showing us that people are still willing to speculate in this market. If altcoins are doing bad, that tells us that people really just want to turn their risk down. They want to turn their risk off, and become a lot more conservative and slow with their trading. But if we're still seeing money kind of flowing into altcoins, then that's a sign of optimism, I think, which basically where money is talking. And I think that is a really, really good, promising sign for these markets, and that is something that I would like to highlight and bring to your attention as well. So I think a lot of this is going to depend on what happens to the dollar, right? If we're going to kind of rise up a little bit more before capturing a little bit of resistance, then I think we're going to have to see how Bitcoin responds to that in terms of its lows. But as long as Bitcoin doesn't sweep below $20,000, I think we're good for now. And that, it's not to say, the dollar could actually, basically reverse. Now it has been pretty much a non-stop rally for the dollar. It has paused right here for 3 days. But we have been, well, this cannot be right. Paused for 3 days here. It's probably because there's a weekend in between. Yeah, definitely because there's a weekend in between. But yeah, bottom line, guys, I think that this is something which is worth keeping an eye on. I think that the market is going to be dependent on this, at least to some extent. Depending on what goes on with Bitcoin right here. I'm sorry, with the dollar right here, and I think that will affect the S&P 500. And I think it's the S&P 500 that will have an effect on Bitcoin. So not necessarily the dollar, but the dollar will indirectly almost cause like a domino effect that would end up affecting Bitcoin, I think. But for now, guys, like I said, we've still got our 1 hour Ichimoku cloud. We've still got our 4 hour EMA ribbon. These are both of the support areas that I was talking to you guys about. In the previous video, we're still in a structure of setting higher lows and higher highs. None of these facts have changed, so there's no real reason for me to get too worried at the moment. We are just at the bottom, potentially. I mean, if we're bullish, we're at the bottom of our range, and so yeah, we do need to see a reversal fairly quickly. We haven't gotten it quickly so far, so that's not good. But we're off to a start, and I think that is still promising. It's not something where I want to throw all of the optimism out the window just yet. So this is something I'm going to be watching. If you want to take advantage of what's going on in the market, you want to trade coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, and all that stuff with leverage even. Again, BitGet is going to be one of the places to be. Check it out with this bonus, guys. I know it's only $400. It's not like a huge amount of money, but you don't have to deposit a crazy amount of money either, right? I mean, a lot of you guys watching this can afford to deposit $4,000 onto BitGet. You don't have to actually keep your money here, by the way. So you can just deposit the money, get your bonus, and then withdraw your money again. I mean, there's no problem with that. And the way to trigger this bonus is not that difficult compared to what other exchanges require. So this is free money. You can do whatever you like with it. You can chuck it wherever the hell you like. And if it makes you money, then great, you keep those profits. And if it doesn't make you money, then it doesn't really matter. You didn't have to. That $400 was given to you for free. If you want to get smaller bonuses like $100, it's even easier. You just need to make a deposit. So super, super well worth checking out. And again, Bybit is going to be offering you $4,000 as well, so check this exchange out as well. BitGet, no KYC, no VPN required. Like I've said before, it might say that you're in a restricted territory depending on where in the world you are, but you can still use the exchange fine, make your withdrawals and all that good stuff. Bybit, a little bit more restricted, but still an absolutely phenomenal exchange. So check them both out. You're getting huge, huge bonuses by following those links in the description. And if you want to jump inside of VIP, follow the link for 𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗧 Gold in the description. Again, it's going to look a little bit more like this down here. Click on this link down here for 𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗧 Gold, and then click on my name at the bottom of any post inside of 𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗧 Gold. It's going to look a little bit like this. This is where we give you more posts around the clock, free of charge, on what I'm looking at in the market, what I'm doing with my trades, and so on. Again, totally free. It's going straight to your phone. Click on my name there. It'll take you to this screen, and then click on message to ask me how to join 𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗧's VIP. With that, ladies and gents, I really hope you have enjoyed this video. You know exactly what to do. If you have, hit up those likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that beautiful stuff, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers. Bye.